This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, like Father Time, the Georgia Farm Monitor stops for no one. Still going strong after nearly 50 years. This is the latest edition. So glad you can join us. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Bergamy. As always, we've got a packed show for you today. Now, coming up, with Georgia's tobacco harvest now in the books, we hear from one grower on how they were able to deal with some of the obstacles surrounding this year's harvest.
Also on the program, after years of planning, UGA's new veterinary teaching hospital is up and running and already receiving high praise. The Monitor goes inside the facility and hears from students themselves on what makes it one of a kind.
And then later, for producers and ranchers, they're a must-have on the farm, but all too often ATV safety is taken for granted. Some important safety tips you should consider before purchasing your next ATV. These stories and much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor. For tobacco growers in Georgia, this year's harvest meant dealing with many challenges, wet weather being just one of them. Recently, the Monitor's Damon Jones paid a visit to D.L. Johnson Farms in Alma. He reports on how the crop down there fared.
Tobacco growers across South Georgia are hard at work harvesting the last of their crop. This nearly 3-month process ideally calls for drier weather. However, this year Mother Nature has not cooperated.
Disease pressure has been kind of moderate. Our worst thing now on the tail end here is we're getting a lot of rain, coastal rainfall coming in. Crops trying to deteriorate a little harder, a little quicker. We're just trying to get it as fast as we can.
The tobacco plant is harvested from the bottom up, and returns early in the season weren't as promising as anticipated. But that has turned around in the past few weeks and has the growers optimistic about the finish.
We've been fortunate this year. Some of our bottom tobacco wasn't as top quality as we'd like. Some of the upper stalk tobacco now, the leaf grade tobacco is selling real good. We still got a few more weeks to go to see how the tip leaf tobacco is going to sell. Overall, it's been pretty fair in Georgia.
And quality is the most important thing for this operation, as they take great strides in guaranteeing a top-notch product.
First thing in the morning, we try to unload 6, 7 barns, depending on how your weather's running and what have you. There again, we run it through a cleaning process so that the company's not getting anything but tobacco.
Just like any other crop, the harvest season for tobacco is long and grueling, as these workers have been hard at work in the fields for a couple of months and still have more to go.
To get it up where you can get your first picking, 2.5 months, 2 months, there again, depending on your weather and how warm the nights are and what have you. And then we've been picking now for about 10 weeks, and we've probably still got another good 2 weeks to go.
All the hard work it takes to get the tobacco from the fields to the buyers isn't lost on Georgia Farm Bureau President Zippy Duval, who stopped by recently for a visit.
And you can see them, they've been stressed out for about 10 or 12 weeks now trying to harvest this crop. And it's practically a 24-hour day, because when they're not picking and staking it and putting it in the barns, they're cooking it all night long.
And with that in mind, he even decided to pitch in a hand.
The president of Georgia Farm Bureau is working on a tobacco farm. This will be good for annual meetings right here. But this is strip tobacco coming out of the field. You can tell it's a little overripe because of the weather. Going onto the conveyor, being loaded into the box, into the barn.
So despite all the hurdles tobacco growers have had to clear this season, it's still a very high quality crop, a fact they should be very proud of.
To grow something and see it grow and go through good times and hard times and meet all the challenges that come with it between pests and rain and lack of rain, and then to be able to harvest something that you're proud of. And you can tell that Daniel and his men are really proud of how they separate things out and make sure that the product that they're delivering is a top quality product. And our consumers need to know that happens all across the board.
Reporting from Alma, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, in other ag news, the bees are back in Los Angeles, that is. Now, why such a big deal, you ask? Well, for 136 years, beekeepers weren't allowed to raise their beloved little creatures in the LA area. But that all changed recently when the city council voted to legalize urban beekeeping. LA now joining other cities, including New York and San Francisco, in allowing beekeeping. The Associated Press reporting that under the new guidelines, beekeeping in the LA area will be limited to backyards of single-family homes. There will also be buffer zones, and beekeepers must provide a source of water at their hives. Meantime, in what's being called a major victory for farmers, a recent injunction has delayed implementation of EPA's controversial Waters of the U.S. rule. The temporary stay means the EPA cannot enforce the rule nationwide and will remain in effect until the court rules on whether it has jurisdiction to hear the case. That's according to Farm Bureau's Don Parrish.
The one thing I want farmers and ranchers to remember is that this is only a temporary injunction. Longer term, I think we need to focus on changing EPA's position legislatively, and we've got to get Congress to intervene to do that. Later this year, this court could decide if they're going to hear this case or not. And if they do, I think this court will then decide whether or not to make this permanent while this litigation is ongoing. If they find that they do not have jurisdiction, then it's going to be up to the district court to issue an injunction.
Well, of course, Georgia cotton producers depend on good research to make sure their crops reach their full potential.
Yeah, every year, UGA Extension, along with support from the Georgia Cotton Commission, helps growers by testing different varieties of cotton in various counties around Georgia so that growers have more local information when making their decisions. The Monitor's Mark Wildman has a report on one small test plot that can help the entire county grow better cotton.
Cotton growers look forward to the harvest time. As the large pickers move through the fields, farmers get to see the results of their hard work. But the decisions farmers make long before the harvest can greatly affect how their crop will turn out. And variety selection is one of the most important decisions a grower can make. Here in Tattnall County, UGA Extension agronomist Jared Whitaker works with local extension agents in a test plot of cotton.
You know, we've got a lot of sources of information on variety performance. You know, our University of Georgia has a variety testing program, which we do small plot variety evaluation for a lot of different cotton varieties, and that's done on our research stations throughout the state. And it gives us a great idea of yield potential of a lot of different cotton varieties. And what this program does is kind of takes variety selection a step further. Whereas we take a smaller set of varieties, ones that have been proven in Georgia, ones that are new, and ones that are of interest, and plant these in a lot of different environments and a lot of different trials throughout the state.
This field may be small, but the information that is gained can potentially help farmers grow a much better crop.
And we probably have 5 or 6 trials within 50 miles of here, so you could look at how these varieties perform over in this environment. But maybe more importantly, you're able to look at how a variety performs given an estimated or an expected yield. You know, you have a farm or a situation where you know what you are shooting for as far as yield potential, and you can look at this trial or these trials and see which varieties are best given that situation. So it kind of takes variety selection a step further.
Georgia agriculture depends on good research, and the research that is conducted by UGA makes its way to the grower through their local extension agents. Billy Griffin is just starting out his career in extension and gains a lot of knowledge working with Jared and the different varieties of cotton grown here. And he can appreciate having information that is targeted for his county.
We track the rainfall here in this plot, so we know the amount of rainfall it's received, and we've also been tracking the rainfall amounts on other plots all throughout the state of Georgia and other counties that these trials have been in. So we have an idea of the amount of rainfall that we've gotten in this plot. It just varies from one place of the county to another.
Farmers spend a lot of money planting and raising their cotton crops, and those involved with the program feel the money spent here on research could pay very good dividends to the growers.
You know, making conservative estimates, even at 60-cent cotton, you know, we think that this program is worth, you know, anywhere from $40 to $70 million to our farmers each year.
Research like this could not be done without the cooperation from many ag groups.
We get a lot of funding for this research to help us, you know, carry out these trials and support us with other ventures with cotton, and the Cotton Commission does an extremely important job of helping us fund those projects, and these projects in particular, and their funding from, you know, cotton growers helps us do these trials and helps us get this information to them and get them that unbiased information that they look to the University of Georgia for.
So as cotton producers harvest their crops, they can all say a big thank you to the research teams who work hard all year long to make sure Georgia cotton stays strong. Reporting from Tattnall County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, great job. Well, when we come back, whether it's treating large animals or small ones, UGA's new Veterinary and Teaching Hospital is the place to turn to for many of the latest high-tech treatment options. That's next when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues.
My name is Marty Gibbs. I'm from San Angelo, Texas. This is my first time to Georgia, yes. I am impressed. I have had the opportunity to judge shows in about 37 states, and this is the first time to Georgia, and I'm really impressed with the facilities. The area is really nice. It looks good. It's really a neat place. And then when I get to the show, it's really interesting to see the investment in the youth that is here. These are top-notch facilities, large crowds, lots of people that support the kids, and some of the greatest kids out there. You must have an interest. You must be interested in it. You must want to do it. And then you follow along the paths that are out there in terms of education through universities that we all have, and then through occupation. Many of us have either been ag science teachers or extension educators across the state, work in colleges or universities that provide education in terms of livestock production and evaluation. And so that's kind of where a lot of this starts. But more importantly, it's from interest and staying with it. You know, I've had kids my own personal kids that showed, 3 kids that showed through the programs in 4-H and FFA for years, and it's just a passion and something you really like. And trends change, so you can have the eye, but at the same time, some things change over time. While we get carried away at many times talking about the quality of livestock, the quality of kids is what it's really about. And so I want to interact with youth. I want to be able to look them in the eye and say hello and talk to them. And on top of that, it kind of helps me remember that that's the kid with the green shirt that had the really good goat, so I need to go back and find that green shirt.
With a price tag of $98 million, UGA's new Veterinary and Teaching Hospital was money well spent. In fact, one could argue it should be listed amongst the many wonders of the world. The facility, which opened in March, so large that one of the hallways has been compared to the length of a football field. It's also the first new veterinary hospital to open in the country in 20 years. To quote one of our forefathers, without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. Words spoken by the great Ben Franklin, and something that definitely applies to this state-of-the-art facility.
Every time I walk down the hallway where all the rounds rooms are and the students are in there with their instructors, talking, learning, going over cases, and smiling, then it hits me every time. The state invested heavily in this facility, meaning you and I as taxpayers contributed 2/3 of the cost. And I think just as importantly, however, as private donors, many of whom are clients, like the ones you'll probably see today, contributed towards the facility as well, because they really believe in high quality animal care, and the referring veterinarians believe they want to have a high-tech, high-touch specialty facility to refer to.
Certainly what this facility brings is, I think, an emphasis on patient care and on the patient. We have multiple exam rooms that allow more than adequate examination of multiple patients at any one time, and they are large enough to include the student in all of the examinations and all of the client communications. So as far as the teaching aspect, I think that it permits more direct student interaction with the clinician and with the client.
And at just over 300,000 square feet, more than double the size of the old facility, the new hospital, according to Dr. Baxter, enables the college to be on more equal footing with peer veterinary hospitals in the Southeast and across the country.
Together with that is that every service in this hospital has dedicated rooms where clinical teaching, what we call as rounds, can occur on a daily basis. And that's where you discuss the cases that you possibly saw that day or even the day before, and you can talk about things that went smoothly, things that you should take out from these cases, and it's a very small group learning environment for the students.
You know, when we had our orientation, it was the first week, they showed us the building plans and everything for this new hospital. And so it's just been really great just seeing it all unfold, from us attending the groundbreaking ceremony to finding out that we were going to be the first class to get to fully utilize this. And so I know my class as a whole, we're just extremely thrilled to be able to be here, and it's a gorgeous facility, and it's just amazing. It definitely expedites the learning process, because here, whereas compared to private practice, we have an advantage because we have so many disciplines and diagnostic tools under one roof. So if you may need to consult on something, you can just call or get on the computer and look it up, and it's just a great way to, I guess, maximize patient care. So it's a real learning benefit to have all this available.
There's a lot of opportunities here. The facilities enable us to handle our patients in a manner that's very safe for them. It makes it easier on us as students, and as on practitioners. It makes us easier to work with our patients, and this facility has really just been a blessing all around.
And for those students who get accepted into UGA's College of Veterinary Medicine, that itself should be considered a blessing.
It's very popular. We have a lot of students who want to be veterinarians. I think we have over 1,160 applications this year for a class size of 114. So, and that goes up every year. It goes up anywhere from 8 to 12% every year, pretty consistently. So yeah, it's a popular major.
Just a reminder, if you missed any part of the story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That's the Georgia Farm Monitor. Once there, you can browse the archive of stories dating as far back as 2009.
And once you're done watching all those informative stories, keep clicking and like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page that we've set up. If you have a story idea, or if you want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or at the address listed below. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Now, up next on the Monitor, how Georgia 4-H influenced these two brothers and their cousin to pursue careers in ag education. A great story, you don't want to miss it, coming up on the Farm Monitor.
I'm Donald Gilman. I'm the ag educator at Lee County High School in Leesburg, Georgia.
I'm Greg Gilman. I teach agriculture and FFA advisor at East Jackson High School in Commerce, Georgia.
I'm Clay Walker. I'm one of the two ag teachers at Veterans High School in Kathleen, Georgia, here in Houston County.
I began my teaching career 12 years ago after seeing how successful my brother was as an ag teacher, and watching his accomplishments, I decided that it was something that I wanted to pursue. And I guess it's working with students is the reason why I enjoy my job as much as I do.
I started teaching agriculture in 1985 after graduating from the University of Georgia. The reason I started teaching agriculture is because I had an extensive background in FFA, and I was encouraged by a former agriculture teacher to do the same thing that he had done, which was to teach agriculture, and not only that, but to try to have an impact on students' lives.
I'm in an unbelievable county that supports their ag programs, their FFA programs, just to the highest level. I'm very blessed to be at Veterans High School. I was influenced greatly by my ag teacher, John David McCall, at Wilcox County High School. And in the back of my mind, I knew this was always something that I was going to do. It took me 12 years after I graduated college to get to it, but seeing a child succeed in the classroom, seeing them succeed with any SAE project or CDE that we're working with, watching that happen is the highlight of my day at work.
I realized early on that being an agriculture teacher was a calling, and it was something that I could see myself doing for 30 plus years. And really, I've never wanted to do anything else other than to be a teacher and to influence students and let them know about the tremendous industry that exists in agriculture.
And I feel like that our family connection has probably done more for our careers than anything else.
Well, finally today, all across rural America, ATVs are a common scene. There have at least been 6 deaths in the U.S. this year from injuries suffered while riding on the all-terrain vehicles. One South Georgia 4-H agent is working hard to keep children and teens safe in rural areas while they're riding ATVs. There's a group of ladies concerned about your safety when it comes to riding ATVs. Leslie Garrett, the University of Georgia 4-H agent in Tattnall County, recently received her certification to train and teach ATV safety to children and adults. She said it was a personal choice.
And it was one of those positions of where I said, you know, this is something that not only impacts my family, but this impacts everyone throughout the counties that are attached right here in the Southeast District.
Garrett told me it made an impact when her son had rolled his four-wheeler over but was able to jump free before being injured.
And I believe that that actually was an eye-opening experience. That's what I hope to do with the ATV safety program here in Tattnall, is to bring in students who have actually been in accidents and talk and bring that awareness, bring that shock back to them, show them this is a part of your lifestyle here in Southeast Georgia. However, we want to make sure that we are safe.
She said she started training while working as an assistant to certified ATV safety instructor Cheryl Popple in Toombs County.
And so we were awarded a grant for $2,000 to do ATV safety, and through that grant, a volunteer leader, Mr. Mike Gibbs, and his son Anthony actually went to Washington, D.C., fully paid, and became ATV certified instructors. And I was able to do some stuff as well as Leslie online to be certified as well. And they were able to bring back that knowledge of, you know, doing ATV safety and doing it the right way, you know, because accidents are just that. They weren't ever intended to happen. And a lot of times, you know, when I think about an accident, I think most of the time they're preventable as well.
Because of Leslie Garrett, one of Tattnall County High School juniors has made ATV safety her passion too. Paige Oliver believes sharing important safety information could save a friend's life.
This is very important, is actually seeing an accident happen with a semi and four-wheelers before, and seeing, actually, I've never experienced an accident, but I've seen other people. So that was really an eye-opener, and that's what really got me started on this, because there's a lot of people that I know and love that ride four-wheelers, and just to think that something could happen to them, and I could have been there to explain to them what they could have done, and maybe they wouldn't have been in the position that they were in. So that was really a key factor on why I took this really seriously.
Look at the impact that you could make by setting that example. Whenever you set the example and you wear your helmet, or make sure that you have those closed-toed shoes on, or making sure that you are not riding on paved roads, or if you're just simply crossing your farm area that you're watching out for those other vehicles. Making sure that they set that example is what is really important for our students. Do you obey those safety rules or not? The choice is always up to the parents, is the way I'm looking at this. And I want to bring that awareness, is that parents need to first and foremost set those ground rules whenever they purchase these. It's not just a toy. It's not a video game. It is something that can actually cause death.
Yeah, great story, Kenny. Very, very important stuff. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, here's a reminder. For all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down the farm, check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll be informed and see what's up in the world of farming and here on the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Hope you have a great week.